The NCAA and March Madness may actually be impacted by the coronavirus outbreaks, so they formed an advisory panel in response to the outbreaks across the world, just as a preemptive response should things escalate. They've consulted the CDC, which does say that the public health threat of the disease is fairly high. And then the National College Players Association urged the NCAA this week to seriously consider holding upcoming competitions without an audience present in order to lessen the risk of coronavirus spread and exposure. Now, we were discussing this yesterday when the NBA came out and said do fist bumps instead of high fives. And I feel like there's this whole, and I kind of get it, but there's this whole idea that the fans are just like carriers of the disease. So they're like, no more audiences. Yeah, I mean, I get it. You want to keep the players and athletes safe. But what's your take on all of this?
This is the dumbest thing in the world to me. And the only thing, because especially, I mean, I get what you're doing, but here's the thing, and look, I don't mean to be offensive, but HIV has been here forever, and some of these kids are going to walk out of here with an Instagram model and a baby mama. You need to be worried about a condom more than you need to be worried about this coronavirus. I'm just saying.
Fake one passing around.
This is ridiculous. Literally, and that happens in the NBA. We literally have women in the NBA that have been passed around. Y'all got other things to worry about than this virus, but, you know, worry about what you worry about.
Well, this morning it was released, actually, that Chicago State University decided to not travel in their final two games. They are part of the WAC conference, the Western Athletic Conference, and they will not be playing Utah Valley or Seattle. Right now, Seattle has 27 people that have been confirmed. 9 people have died in Seattle. And they actually decided not to host.
What are the age, though, of the people that are dying?
The youngest one was like 42.
Yeah.
But the team also, the women's team, has 2 home games, and they decided not to host those home games. So they're completely men's and women's, not traveling and not letting anybody travel to their college in Chicago because of the virus. Obviously, we know next week with March Madness is when kind of the first glimpse of stuff, because it'll be tournament time, so everybody will be playing for their title for their conferences or whatever. They actually said they don't even know if they're going to attend the WAC tournament because of it. This is real.
So did they start?
This is the beginning of the March Madness being canceled, because this is a college team saying we're not playing our last 2 games, we're not hosting anybody, and we might not go to Vegas for the tournament.
Right, but my thing is you're just doing all speculation right now. I need some logic to
intervene. This is what the team said.
No, I got that, but I'm saying, have you tested any of the players? Have you tested any of your students? Because they still got to interact with their fellow, students and colleagues.
Their thing is not wanting to travel to Seattle.
I get that, but my thing is, you don't know what's happening in turn. You know what I mean? Literally, if you look at Italy, who said, okay, we're just going to blanket this and test everybody. And then all of a sudden, people who didn't even know they had it were like, oh, snap, I got this virus. Yeah. You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is you're just, like you said, assuming that the general public is plagued now, and you're not even testing internally. It makes no sense to me.
The problem is we're not prepared to test everybody. One of our producers, Jake, actually told me yesterday that in the state of California, Los Angeles County is larger than a lot of countries itself, but the state of California only has 200 testing things for it. There's only 200 machines that will test for it in the whole entire state of California. So, and we are the second population-wise compared to New York, as far as Los Angeles County and then New York. Of people, literally there's 8 million people in Los Angeles alone, so we don't have the means to test people right now. So I think it's hard to say oh, well, why don't you just test whatever. I think they're just looking at it they haven't, and that's their right to do as a university. If they don't want to go to their last 2 games or don't want to host, they can do that. But I'm just saying we're going to see more and more that these are most of the time public schools, and they just don't want to deal with it. So this is just the first thing we're going to see of, I'm sure, more teams. Obviously, Chicago State wasn't going to go anywhere anyway. But part of the Pac-12, half of the women's conference is a top 25 team. Right. So when it comes to them and some of the schools, to Oregon and stuff like that, what's going to happen? Are people not going to want to play against them just because we have no idea?
We don't have enough. I don't know. To me, just making these huge leaps and alterations and everything, and you without the understanding of where it's really going, is weird to me.
Yeah.